The element of morality is one of the more misguided factors with respect to the rule of law. This is because it is often too closely associated with innocence and guilt, not only by the layperson in wider society, but even by some working within the justice system. The most important thing to remember is that just because someone is a bad person, it doesn't mean they are at fault of breaking the law. It might seem like an obvious predisposition to have, yet this can, and often has, been a predominant factor that has swayed a jury inside a courtroom. We could use the ongoing trial of Harvey Weinstein as a current example. He is facing multiple counts of sexual assault and rape, which now have to be proven by the state if he is to face charges. What doesn't need proving is that Weinstein is a terrible person. Most in the entertainment industry already saw him as an overbearing, egotistical chauvinist even before the allegations came out, and further testimony has essentially driven the point home beyond assumption. Yet it could be argued that the prosecution have now overused this evidence, and have overreached in their strategy to attack the character of the defendant. This could allow the defense to create a counter-narrative, being that Weinstein had become an easy target for false accusations due to the ugly nature of his character, and that a snowball effect essentially created a witch hunt, aimed at a highly unlikable, yet ultimately innocent person. This isn't necessarily the approach the defense will adapt, yet demonstrates how the miscorrelation between immorality and criminality have dire consequences for the state. This not only applies to what takes place inside the courtroom, but also to what transpires long beforehand. And this is the reason criminal investigators are taught not to get emotionally invested in a case, as their own biases can affect best practice. An accurate example could be the interview of Christiane Allison, whose husband Clayton was suspected of murdering their 15-month-old daughter. He was alone at home with the toddler while Christiane was out for work, and was allegedly in the bathroom unclogging the toilet when his wife returned home to make a gruesome discovery. She found her daughter lying unconscious at the bottom of the stairs and was completely unresponsive. Christiane screamed, then immediately called 911, and the toddler was flown by helicopter to a hospital in Anchorage, where doctors found blood around her brain, a bruised lung, and 2 dislocated vertebrae. The girl died that night. Her cause of death was declared as traumatic brain injury, which her father stated was caused by falling down the stairs. Yet Alaska state troopers discovered the stairs were carpeted, thus couldn't have caused the fatal trauma, and the fact they were guarded with a baby gate made it even less plausible. He became the prime suspect when the autopsy report came in, but was not immediately arrested. They first decided to call in his wife Christiane to see if she would cooperate by getting him to either admit his guilt or at least garner some sort of damning testimony to use against him.
We're at a point in the investigation where either you're on the side of Jocelyn or you're on the side of Clay.
Don't say that.
That's where we are.
You're putting yourself...
I'm putting myself where?
You're putting yourself in a position saying that you automatically want me to be angry with you. So don't do that, please.
Because
I want to be cooperative, I want to be helpful, but do not make a woman stand between her husband and her daughter.
Well, you have to choose.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I can just as equally love my
Carpet
daughter
is like,
and believe that it was an...
Was it carpet is like water in the source engine? Okay. I mean, it does dampen the fucking hits, so it could make it less likely that someone got like serious brain injury from just like hitting soft carpet.
An accident.
Okay, well, it's not it's a homicide.
No, that
we're
this was ruled a homicide according to the evidence that they had.
It's ruled a homicide based on the injuries that your child had. She went from this, okay, to this. She has bruises all over her head.
The investigator has just thrust a photo of the mother's deceased daughter right in front of her face. Christiane was being questioned as a witness, not a suspect. She hadn't been read her Miranda warning, and the purpose of the interview wasn't to elicit signs of guilt, only to collect a statement and to discuss possible cooperation. What the detective has just done is a technique used to gauge a person's response, especially if the photographs being presented are of a gruesome nature. The sharp manner in which the images are presented is done so a suspect is caught off guard, and this is thought thought to make it harder for them to fabricate emotion in a convincing manner. It's an effective interrogative technique, yet most often exclusively used on suspects due to its traumatic nature. Christiane was not a suspect, therefore her response to the photographs were of no use to the investigation. It's a rookie mistake from the detective, as this has now destroyed the possibility of rapport development, and this segment of the interrogation was also used by her husband's defense to portray a corrupt and negligent police department.
Okay, this is all bruising, okay? It's not from tumbling down carpeted stairs, okay? Here's the autopsy photos. The autopsy photos. Some of the autopsy photos. Here's your baby.
Bro, are you fucking insane, dude? Are you out of your fucking mind? You're just gonna like be completely unacceptable. Like barely acceptable to do it with like someone who you kind of suspect is the person. Preposterous. Like, oh hey, what's up, young mom? Here's your dead baby. Okay, stick.
Okay? This is trauma. This is trauma. This is your baby's brain.
You know what else is trauma? What the mom has right now. Because you just forcibly fucking made her watch some shit that she definitely did not want to see. That she is not benefiting from seeing at all, dude. Holy crap, what a psycho.
Not necessarily a tumble, like motion down the stairs.
This is all trauma. This is all trauma.
Which isn't caused by her bumping into things, because there's nothing on the skull.
You know that a lot of the JCS videos are actually copyright claimed by detectives that were portrayed negatively by him. You can see a list of his deleted videos and they're copyrighted by detectives. Shut the fuck up. Are you serious?
Okay, this is all trauma. You need to know
that
this.
That shows her face. Can you please not show me that one?
CJ.
Or at least don't show me her face mutilated like that.
This is reality. This is you're gonna have to look at this because your baby was murdered. I'm asking you to help us. We need an answer.
I am willing to answer any question you want me to answer. Honestly, I don't know what you expect of me. I don't know if you expect me to walk in this door for you to tell me that, for me to break down crying and say, oh, it's all a farce. I've been completely truthful to you this entire time. I'm going to be completely truthful to you.
For the record, for what it's worth, I don't believe that the cops have rights to this footage. I'm pretty sure this is a matter of public record, and you can't fucking copyright shit like that.
The rest of the whole thing, the way that this goes, and I'm being completely cooperative, and I always have been.
This goes back to what was stated earlier about the miscorrelation between guilt and immorality. Christiane appears unusually composed and articulate considering the circumstances. This could of course be due to shock or voluntary detachment as a means of coping, but also due to the possibility that she is unaffected over the tragic death of her own daughter, which could bring one to assume that she may not have been a loving mother. This may be frowned upon, yet does not mean she is being untruthful in any way, nor guilty of any wrongdoing in the eyes of the law. In fact, the manner of her response, being composed yet assertive, could be argued as the disposition of someone with nothing to hide. She comes across as annoyed at the way she is being treated, yet is not anxious or concerned in any way.
Okay, well here's what we want you to do.
So ask your questions and I'll give you your answer.
Here's what we want you to do. Okay? We want you to make a phone call to Clayton, and we want you to let us record it. That's what we want you to do.
And what am I supposed to do in this phone call?
You're gonna talk to him. Okay? You're gonna say, if ruled it a homicide, you were the last one with Jocelyn. What happened? She didn't. They're telling me she didn't get the injuries from falling down the stairs. What happened?
Oh my god. Oh my god. I think it's because the UK copyright laws are probably different. This part of the video is probably available, but the second part might have gotten copyrighted. Just like the fucking Prince Andrew video was taken off. That doesn't make sense though. Because there was hella Prince Andrew videos out there. They didn't all get copyrighted. Aiden, bruv, I'm not talking shit about the fucking UK, governor. We're gonna watch a fucking UK murder later, alright? Second half of this, bruv, is a fucking UK murder in it.
I'm not gonna do that.
Okay, and I'm gonna ask you why.
Because I am the type of person that would feel like I was lying to my husband if I didn't automatically say,
Don't worry,
this phone
Aiden.
call's being recorded.
Aiden, don't fucking worry, Aiden. It's coming home, alright? It's coming home, governor. It's coming fucking home. Like the Euros. We're gonna be fucking doing the second half of this video is gonna be about a fucking UK bruv murder. Don't worry, it's coming home.
If you let me say that, I'll do that just fine.
Well, he's not gonna talk on a recorded line. He's not gonna tell you the truth. He hasn't told you the truth now.
I'm a truthful person, and that's deceitful to me, and I won't do that to my husband.
It's not deceitful.
It's
this is where you have to.
deceptive.
This is where you have to.
Deceptive, and
Okay,
I won't
and you
do
want
it.
answers? Do you want answers? Do you want to know if Clayton did this?
Yeah, I do, and I'm going to ask him.
I'm here to see how cooperative you are, and you're not.
The detective now insinuates that suspicions of the witness are now developing, potentially for the purpose of making her anxious, and thus more prone to being cooperative.
I am cooperative. I'm telling you a legitimate reason. I will not
Okay,
be deceptive
I'm
to
telling
my
you.
spouse.
I'm telling you that your child did not die from falling down the stairs.
And do you think that if you were in my position and you
I would wanna
100%
know.
didn't believe
I would
that,
want to know.
that you would do this?
100%. You saw the pictures of your baby's head.
100%.
You saw the pictures
don't
of your
believe
child's
it. And
head.
I 100% don't believe it.
Body language readings can never be given full credibility, yet Christiane's motions are textbook of a truthful subject. She has a forward-leaning posture, maintains eye contact, and her hands are pointing directly at the interrogator while she makes her assertion. She is not
I love whenever JCS says, what I'm about to say is hokum, pseudoscience, but I'm going to say it anyway. He really has a way with delivering pseudoscientific nonsense that I truly appreciate.
seeking approval, only trying to get her message across in a direct manner.
When Jocelyn went in for the emergency surgery, they opened up her skull, and the dura was very tense, and of course it was bulging, and it popped. You know, like what do you call those? The poppy dose things. So it was. There was so much trauma there. And it was,
Yeah, I remember the surgeon described it to me beautifully.
More unnecessary graphic detail given to a witness. This was once again used by Clayton's defense team during his trial.
So if I don't agree to this, what do you do?
This is what is known as making the video as shitty as possible in an effort to see if people are still watching technique. Oftentimes utilized by those who do true crime videos. The technique makes it so hard to watch a video that it's no longer 1880p. It's not even 144p. It's just a dark sequence of shadows.
Well, but if you don't agree to it, you don't agree to it. And the only thing left is we go and we talk to Clayton.
Well, that's probably where we're at, because I'm just going to be flat honest with you. Even if I 100% believe that he'd done it, which I don't, I still couldn't do that.
Okay.
To me, there is deceitful and there is not deceitful, and that's deceptive to me, and I cannot do that to my husband. I can't.
Let me just be blunt. Let me just be blunt with you, because that's all right.
The detective now repeats her strategy of trying to induce anxiety. It once again fails, and Christiane displays all the signs of a truthful subject.
Did you have any part? Did you ever shake Jocelyn?
No.
Did you ever throw her in your bed out of frustration?
No.
Okay. What's your part in this? What's your part in Jocelyn's death?
Nothing. Except for not being there.
What's your obligation to Jocelyn now?
Love her and remember her.
That's your only obligation?
Find out what happened.
Okay. To love her, isn't that to find out what happened to her?
That's what I just said, to know.
Such a good cop, dude. It's crazy.
I had to love her and to find out what happened.
Okay.
Which is what I've been trying to do this whole time.
I expected a reaction from you. I expected you to go, oh my God, what? Cry. I did. I expected you to be, oh my God.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't.
This is what is known as admitting that you fucked up technique. It's only reserved for some of the most important moments, okay? Where you just sorry. I apologize. Fuck, I'm so hot. It's used in unique circumstances where the cop is completely fucked up and decides there's no reason in hiding it anymore. Just like there's no reason to hide this ad break because everybody knows it's coming. That's why every time I get closer to the top of the hour, like the actual top of the hour, chatters lose their mind and start doing Pogo Tomato time. Yes, top of the fucking hour is here. Yes, it's a 60-second ad break. Yes, you can avoid those ads if you subscribe or if you use an ad blocker or a VPN. Yes, subscriptions are either free with a Twitch Prime or $5. These are all facts. Here's the ad break now. Here's the
I
video.
can't afford myself that luxury.
Why not?
Because what you say is too
I'm
important.
so hot! I'm gonna fucking die! Oh my
is
god!
it-
Words are too important.
Words are absolutely important.
And so
And-
I'm controlling every word that I say, or at least attempting to. That is my goal here. And it will not change until I walk out of that door.
Okay.
When I walk out of that door, I'll probably fall apart.
Well,
But right now, I'm being a politician.
I'm shocked. I will tell you, I'm shocked. I can't believe as a mother, after everything that I've presented in front of you, you can say he didn't do this. You can say he didn't do this. Let me ask you straight out, did you love Jocelyn?
Yeah, I loved her more than anything in the world, and I still do.
More than anything in the world.
15 months
More than anything.
Yeah.
But you won't. You're a smart lady. I've
Yeah,
given you
I'm a
everything.
smart lady.
I've given you everything, and you said you don't even believe you. 0%. You don't. There's not even
I'm
an
saying
ounce of doubt
when
in you.
I'm not
Don't
saying
tell me.
doubt.
Don't tell me that you
I'm not
loved your
saying there's
baby
not
with
an ounce of doubt.
beyond.
I'm not saying there's not an
Beyond
ounce of doubt.
doubt.
I'm saying I don't believe what you're telling me 0% because I'm not going to say that I do. I'm not saying that I don't doubt things. I doubt lots of things.
As a mother,
I doubt lots
more than the world.
of things.
Okay, you guys were right.
Howdy, partner.
One of the fucking JCS videos was literally removed by the dude. Fucking Jim Stewart! Pogo Tomato Time, Jim Stewart!
let me use your
That
words.
doesn't mean that I'm
More
going
than
to
the world.
agree with
More
what
than
you're
the
telling
world.
me now.
You love Jocelyn more than you loved your own life, right?
Yeah.
My God, that's what I would do for my kid. You love Jocelyn more than you love your own life, more than you love anything, above anything else on God's green earth. You
Yeah.
love Jocelyn.
Whether it be an instance of getting emotionally invested or an overzealous attempt at building a case, the investigator aggressively refutes the witness claims that she
You know who would never do that? Jim Smith, by the way. Like, never in a million years. Because he's never looked bad in an interrogation. He would never do a copyright takedown.
loves her daughter due to the fact that she refuses to conspire against her husband. Logical thinking could bring one to assume that Christiane is telling the truth. She has just lost her daughter, something most mothers would indeed love more than anything in the world, yet her daughter is now gone, and her husband is essentially all she has left. Christiane had come from an abusive background. She has no family apart from her husband and his family. He is her main support system, and someone to share and divide grief with, regardless of any potential culpability. It's an abstract and even disturbing thought to try and contemplate, yet her behavior in this moment is not that uncommon. Even though she had doubts about her husband, she still loved him, and the tragic nature of her circumstances could even amplify this feeling. She may have also been in the first stage of grief, being shock and denial.
I've presented experts, evidence, experts, and you're telling me he didn't do it. You didn't love Jocelyn.
Do you
I'll tell you. I'll be
just
blunt with you.
absorb everything that everyone says to you
do.
as 100% truth?
No, I take it
You
in.
take it with a grain of salt, and that is what I'm doing. I don't believe anything until I've thought about it, I've prayed about it, and I've come to my decision. Because life is too short for rash decisions.
It was too short for Jocelyn.
Yeah,
it was only 15
it was hella
months.
too short.
It was only 15 months, and her own father, at the hands of her own father, shook her to death. And by God, her...
I wonder at what point does it change from doing an interrogation to just like abusing a grieving mother? You know what I mean?
Her mother doesn't
that's
want to
what
know
you're
the
telling
truth.
me.
Her mother doesn't want to know
Yes,
the truth.
I do, and don't you dare say that I don't.
Make the phone call.
I'll make the phone call if I can tell him it's being recorded. There's a big difference between wanting to know the truth when you believe you can get it, 100%. Like I said before, you make every decision
Excuses.
in life based on your decisions, based on your beliefs, based on the knowledge you have in front of you.
Excuses. And you're being
And this
contradictory.
is the knowledge I have in front of me. No, I am not.
You are being contradictory.
I have not contradicted myself yet. I have said this is
absolutely
where
have.
I stand on it, and I'm not changing my mind.
Yeah, but then you fluctuated between whether you believe him, you believe him, you believe him. He said she fell down the stairs. I'm just going to believe that. I'm just going to believe that. I've presented experts that said
So how have I fluctuated?
that this hasn't happened.
How have I
Because
fluctuated?
you've said you wanted to know. Because you've said
I
that
do
you're
want
a
to
blunt,
know,
honest
and
person.
I will know. I will find out. I have no fear of that. I don't have to make a phone call in your office on a recorded line to find that out for myself.
Black and white. He lied. This man that you trusted, that you would never be deceitful, thought that you weren't worth it enough to be honest with you.
Bro, at this point, even if she's the murderer, or even if the husband is the murderer, she's doing such a terrible job that there is zero chance that she's going to arrive at the truth. Like, she's just completely fucking shut off. Why would she ever collaborate with you?
To tell you what happened to your child, who you love more than the world. He lied. That means nothing to you. Your husband was deceitful.
This will do nothing to help her. I am smart enough to know that my daughter is not coming back from the dead.
Christiane now starts to compartmentalize the situation to justify her standing. If she was a suspect, this could be used to argue that she knows her argument is dubious. Yet, as earlier stated, her refusal to conspire against her spouse is not illegal. It also seems like she is trying to convince herself that she is doing the right thing, more so than she is trying to convince the interrogators.
There is nothing on this earth that is going to help her. It'll help me. It'll help how I feel. It'll help you. It'll help how you feel. It'll help him and whatever happens to him, whatever the truth is, and whatever all that bunch of stuff. But it's not going to help her. There's nothing on this earth that can help her.
It's a greater good. It's a greater
good my ass.
It's a greater good.
Greater
You have
good
an
my
obligation.
ass.
Don't you have an obligation?
No.
You don't have an
I
obligation.
have an obligation to be a citizen, to tell the truth, which I have done, to be cooperative without being deceitful, which I have done.
We can't make you do it. We're not going to
it's
make
justice.
you do it.
Obviously.
It's
It's just
justice.
really kind of upsetting and disturbing to me personally to see this kind of reaction and justification and reluctance to kind of have an open mind about what happened. It's really upsetting and disturbing to me.
You don't even want to know what happened to Jocelyn. I'm showing you a picture of what happened
If I showed you
to
that
Jocelyn.
picture of your child, would you want
I'd
that
be on
picture
the
embedded
phone.
in your mind for
I'd
the rest
be
of
on
your
the
life?
phone.
Would you want to face that picture in your
I'd
dreams?
be on the phone.
Would
I
you
would
want to
look- I
face
would
it at
look
night
at it.
every day?
I would.
You know how hard it is for me to face it at night? The way
I
she
would.
looked laying in the hospital bed in one piece?
I would.
Do you know what that's like, looking
I
at your
would.
child that way?
I would.
You don't. When have you looked at your child looking like that?
I haven't. I haven't.
So you don't know. So don't accuse me of not wanting to look at the picture because I don't want to know the truth. I don't want to look at the picture because I don't want to see that picture every time I go to sleep.
That's what your
Regardless
husband
of what happened to her.
deceived you.
Regardless of what
Your
happened to her.
husband
I don't.
At this point, it's like the cop
Hi,
just
honey,
got
after many
murdered.
months, I have
I mean-
finally delivered our baby to the world. I hope you
I
will
said
help
she
me
just
raise our
cornered
child.
the fucking
I
cop.
will name him Ben after my hero Ben Shapiro. Please grow him to become a
Holy
promising
shit!
leader
What
for
the
our great
fuck?
nation.
Does she? I bet she doesn't even get like paid leave because of this. She's no suspension, probably a promotion.
Want that picture in my
Your
head.
husband deceived
And there
you.
is nothing wrong with that.
Your husband deceived you. He
mean,
makes love to you knowing that he did this to Jocelyn.
What the
That's
fuck?
deceit.
This is,
I tell you,
this is
if-
just a picture. This is just a picture that was taken of something that your husband did. This is just a piece of paper with color on it. You can be mad at us for a picture.
No, I can be mad at you for choosing to show me a picture I don't want to see and
But-
accusing me of not wanting to know the truth because I won't look at it.
But
It's
you're-
a very different thing.
But you're not mad at Clayton for causing that.
Dude, what is this fucking Reddit debate lord
Deceived.
energy right now? Like, one of the most This is one of the most psychotic interrogations I've ever seen in my entire life, dude. They're just like. The worst part is like she's not even a suspect. Like
Thanks,
she's
Seth.
literally a witness. Like they want her to give the. They're trying to coerce testimony out of her that will corroborate the opinions that they have on this matter. It's fucking insane. It's so crazy, dude. This is actually wild.
That damage to your child.
You'd want to see that picture of your child,
I would.
whether you believe you would know or not. If you believe that you would know and
I'd
you
ask to
didn't
go
want
to
to
the-
see that picture,
I would.
you'd want
You
to
know
see
what?
it?
I'd ask to go to the autopsy. I'd ask to do that. That's me because I have to know because I'm black and white. Okay.
Well, it's
because
not your
I
child laying on that table.
need to know. Okay.
It's not
I've
your
had
child
children.
laying on that table.
I've had children in the hospital. I've had children.
You've
that are
never
sick.
had a child
never
die.
lost a
You
child.
can't imagine it.
You're absolutely right. I cannot imagine it.
So don't tell me
I
how you would
cannot-
be, because I can tell you what. I've run through this scenario 100 times in my head before she died, and you have no fucking idea.
We're asking
None.
you to help us. We're asking you
Wait, why? That's kind of crazy.
to help us.
You're asking me to help you with something that can only help you and possibly me if you believe that I'm going to deceive myself.
You want to seek the truth. You
I
said
do.
you want to know the truth.
I do,
We're
and
asking
I'm
you
going
to
to
help
find
us.
it regardless of whether I make that phone call or not. And
asking
I
you to
have
help
enough
us.
faith to believe that you can find it regardless of whether I make you that phone call.
We know.
It may be
We-
the best way.
We believe we know
but
what
I know
happened.
fine.
We believe
Then
we know
my
what
phone
happened.
call may assist you in making it easier. It's not going to change the truth.
What Christiane and even the investigators were unaware of was that Clayton had already been called into that same police station during the course of this interview. A separate investigation team had decided to conduct their own interrogation before making an arrest, which was so that Christiane couldn't alert her husband to their suspicions when she arrived home. Clayton initially denied wrongdoing, but later told investigators he had been slapping his daughter because she refused to eat, and that the slapping became harder over a period of time, turning into strikes, but not because he was angry with his daughter, only because he couldn't get her to eat otherwise. He was arrested and charged with first-degree murder that same day. In 2015, he was convicted of his daughter's murder and rendered a life sentence. He spent 4.5 years in prison
Wait,
before his
what?
conviction was overturned by the Court of Appeals in
Wait, what? I'm so did I misunderstand what just happened?
The slapping became harder over a Clayton had already been called into that same police station during the course of this interview. A separate investigation team had decided to conduct their own interrogation before making an arrest, which was so that Christiane couldn't alert her husband to their suspicions when she arrived home. Clayton initially denied wrongdoing, but later told investigators he had been slapping his daughter because she refused to eat, and that the slapping became harder over a period of time, turning into strikes, but not because he was angry with his daughter, only because he couldn't get her to eat otherwise. He was arrested and charged with first-degree murder that same day. In 2015, he was convicted of his daughter's murder and rendered a life sentence. He spent 4.5 years in prison before his conviction was overturned by the Court of Appeals in 2019. He is currently released on bail awaiting his next trial. A primary focus of his appeals process was the incompetence and negligence of the Wasilla Police Department.
There it is.
On February 15th of 1993,
and now we get to the main fucking course, dude.
The northern city of Liverpool, England, would bear witness to one of the most shocking and horrific cases in its history.
Police on Merseyside say that 2-year-old James Bulger, who disappeared from a shopping precinct at the weekend, was horribly murdered and then dumped on a railway line. They say that someone must know the identity of the 2 boys who took James from the precinct.
Inch by inch, the police have searched the railway line where 2-year-old James Bulger's body was found yesterday. The scene is still protected from the elements for forensic work. The body itself was removed late last night. His uncle had identified him. It had been spotted earlier by 4 schoolboys.
Wait, what the fuck? There was a genetic condition? What? Evidence of genetic condition leads to overturned murder conviction? The first time my knees ever started creaking in the cold as I walked up the stairs, I was 8 years old. Allison says I was in elementary school. That was the first time at which I started experiencing nightly severe pain.
9 months.
Allison was diagnosed with type 3 Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, a genetic condition that affects connective tissue. However, the diagnosis arrived too late for the Allisons. My husband was arrested in November 2008, a couple days before I got the diagnosis. The cause of death was blunt force trauma. Prosecutors argued Jocelyn died of abuse from her father, but the Allisons have maintained that she fell down paddle stairs and hit a chair, an injury that wouldn't normally kill a child, but CJ Allison says their daughter wasn't normal. When my daughter was born, she appeared normal at first, but after 4 to 6 months, she started showing signs of something very serious. Allison believed Jocelyn suffered the same condition her mother was in the process of getting tested when she died. When they tried to submit CJ's diagnosis as evidence, the judge forbade it from being mentioned when Jocelyn was never diagnosed, and CJ's was a rule-out diagnosis. Oh my god. Wait, but he admitted to beating her, though. What the fuck? Wait, did JCS fuck this one up? Maybe that's why they took this video down? Or was it like a... Maybe he confessed because of cop manipulation? False confessions are not uncommon. Yeah. So he really is like, oh yeah, I beat her, but I didn't kill her. Cops can get you to admit to anything. Let's be real. He didn't admit it. He just admitted to hitting her. Okay, but then what the fuck? JCS kind of made it seem as though like he literally beat her to death with his bare hands. Right? Am I crazy? Didn't... That was kind of implied, right? No? Okay, I misunderstood. Like... Damn, y'all are fucking JCS simps, dude. They didn't mention the condition at all. Well, this is new information, so he probably didn't know. I'm trying to figure out why... I'm trying to figure out why they took the video down. This could be part of the reason. You know what I mean? Anyway, let's keep watching.
Is playing. The blurred images of 2 youths seen taking James away are now all over the city. The public say detectives hold the key to finding them. They believe James was killed locally, then his abandoned body was hit by a train.
We know it is a murder inquiry. There's not, as we'd first hoped, we were going to find James and return him to his parents. It is horrific what has taken place, and there must somewhere be somebody who will know the identity of the two boys who were seen with James.
James's blue and mustard hood, seen here in a security video, has now been recovered. It had been missing from his clothing but was found nearby. Police have set up a temporary base in the shopping centre. They're warning parents that other children could be vulnerable.
For goodness sake, keep tight hold of your children. Poor James only went missing from his mother for a matter of seconds, and he'd gone and disappeared.
It was a warning heeded as parents picked up their children from school.
I've said to him that if he doesn't hold my hands, then, you know, an naughty man's going to take him and all that.
It's on your own doorstep, isn't it? I mean, I come strand every day with my kids. Of course, it's frightened everybody.
The shadow of this murder is hanging heavily over Liverpool. As flowers built up around the scene, James's family have spent the day being counselled by specially trained officers.
Murder conviction overturned for Wasilla man charged with killing 15-month-old daughter. White also threw out a 2009 admission of abuse from Allison, finding it coerced. Oh my God. Oh my fucking God, dude. The appeals court found that Standard wrongly placed the burden of proof on Allison to prove his innocence. Additionally, barring evidence that might have cast doubt on Allison's guilt, restricted his ability to defend himself, the appeals court said in its opinion. Evidence that there were other possible medical explanations for excessive bleeding was something that the jury should have heard.
Hassle.
This is a quote from the appeal. Shortly before trial, the state filed a motion for a protective order seeking to exclude any mention of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome at trial. The state argued that the mother's diagnosis was inherently suspect because the mother had obtained the diagnosis after J.A.'s death. The state also viewed the diagnosis as too speculative. What the fuck? It's a genetic disease. Who gives a shit? If they're like already saying that like the daughter, there's something wrong with the daughter, there's something wrong with the daughter, as fucking parents would know. And then they find out that that's crazy. No info. No. This is not criticism of JCS. He didn't know this shit. It doesn't matter. I'm talking about the court case. Like I'm talking about the judge's decision to deny any mention of EDS. The baby gate and lack of supervision from the father is still suspicious, but yeah, the cops definitely fucked this up.
Dozens of bunches of flowers have been laid in response to a crime whose shadow is hanging heavily over the city, the appalling murder of a defenseless toddler. James suffered truly horrific injuries, said the police, before his body was dumped on a railway and hit by a train. The discovery of his remains has led to a massive public response. Detectives are tonight studying the evidence so far accumulated. But police still haven't traced these two youths, photographed leading James away by a security camera. Inch by inch, officers have searched the line today, trying to establish the exact sequence and timing of events. The inquiries have gone on all day, and they've been going on all evening. The search as urgent as ever for the vital clue that will lead the police to whoever killed a helpless 2-year-old.
Today, the police investigating the murder announced a breakthrough in their inquiries.
Following the abduction of James Bulger from the New Strand shopping precinct in Bootle on Friday the 12th of February 1993, and the subsequent findings of his body on the railway line in Walton on Sunday the 14th of February, 2 boys aged 10 years from Walton area have been arrested and are currently being interviewed by Merseyside police at police stations on Merseyside.
Today's announcement came after hundreds of calls to the incident room overnight following the first...
Holy fuck, this guy said, I'm from Serbia and this murder was in my English textbook. I feel like England is so desperate for murders that they just like one time a murder happens, they're like, we got to put it in an international textbook. I mean, I from what I understand, this is like a horrific one. This is like a specific one, but this case is taught in most English schools. Wait, what the fuck? Like, this is like a murder. It's a part of like history.
Yo.
I learned this in school too, but I'm from the UK. Wait, really?
Screening on television last night of an enhanced video photograph of the two youths seen with James. It can no longer be shown for legal reasons.
Like yesterday, keep being the dull piece of shit legend you are.
Almost 27 years later, this surveillance image remains etched in the minds of the millions familiar with the case of James Bulger. On the afternoon of February 12, 1993, 10-year-olds John Venables and Robert Thompson would enter a shopping mall in the northern part of Liverpool with the intention of kidnapping a small child, something they attempted not once, but twice. Inside a department store, a woman noticed that two boys were trying to get her 2-year-old son's attention. Moments later, she realized he was missing. The woman began calling his name and ran outside, where she found Venables and Thompson beckoning the boy to follow them. When Venables saw the mother, he told the boy to go back to her, and they both vanished. Mere luck had saved that child, but also sealed the terrible fate of another. Soon after the aborted abduction, Venables and Thompson were loitering around a candy stand when they noticed 2-year-old James Bulger by the door of a nearby butcher's shop. With Bulger's mother momentarily distracted, they got the toddler to come with them. Venables then took him by the hand and led him away.
Damn, dude, this kid's fucking 10 years old, but he looks evil.
James and his abductors were caught by a surveillance camera leaving the mall at 3:42 p.m. By this time, James's mother, Denise, was panicking. She quickly found mall...
Literally doing the trademark Kubrick stare, dude. Dude, what the fuck happened to these kids? How are they such
security
psychos,
personnel
dude?
And described her son and what he was wearing. They announced the boy's name over the loudspeakers, but there was no sign of him, and he was then reported missing to the local police station. After the boys had led James away from the mall, he began crying out for his mother. They ignored him and continued down to a secluded area near a canal where they dropped him on his head and left him on the ground crying. A woman passing by noticed the child but did nothing. The boys then called for James to come, and he still followed. His forehead was bruised and cut, causing his abductors to pull his jacket hood over his head to hide the injury. They then walked away from the canal and through a residential street, where one witness later reported noticing a small child crying while being forcefully led by 2 older boys. She didn't report the incident, but gave a statement 5 days later.
I've heard people say...
Dude, for the record, like, you would never expect that to be a kidnapping, because it's literally 10-year-olds. Like, it's easy to just be like, oh, what the fuck was this person doing? What the fuck? Like, why didn't you tell the cops? But it's like, why would you ever think that? Ever. You would literally just assume that it's like brothers and the younger brother's just like fucking being a dick and crying or some shit. Or the older brother's like bullying the younger child. Like, you would never, ever in a million years report that as like something that is suspicious. It's because the kid's crying and shouting for his mom? Okay, but you're... What? Okay. So what? That's just exclusively hindsight.
"7 months, boggers."
You would never, ever in a... Dog. You would literally never think a 10-year-old is kidnapping someone. You are fucking so crazy. If you think you saw a 10-year-old kidnapping like a 4-year-old or whatever, you're literally out of your mind. No matter what happens, like, no matter what happens, they're fucking 10, dude. Are you kidding me? You would never think that. You'd just be like, wow, these 10-year-olds are being dickheads to a smaller baby.
Saying, why didn't someone do this and why didn't someone do that? But... you know, now the guilt's there. I don't think I'll ever get this guilt. I seen them. I heard the baby crying. And I watch them. Oh, God, I watch them. I've got to look out this window every day. I see these kids. I go to bed and I see these kids.
A second witness also noticed the trio while driving, but only reported the incident when the story hit the front page of the national news 3 days later.
I went to the police that same day, on the Monday, and reported the incident. And I said to the police at that stage, I hope that it wasn't him, because I couldn't live with the thought that I could have done something about it.
At some time between 5:45 and 6:30 p.m., Thompson and Venables brought the exhausted 2-year-old to a railway. When they arrived, the boys hesitated, perhaps reconsidering what they were about to do, and briefly turned away from the embankment. But then they both turned back toward the privacy of the area, and the brutal torture and murder of James Bulger occurred. The boys splashed blue paint in the child's eyes, kicked him, threw bricks and stones at him, and stuffed batteries into his mouth. They then proceeded to hit James over the head with a 22-pound iron bar, which resulted in 10 skull fractures. All in all, the child sustained 42 injuries to his face, head, and body. Authorities later concluded that there was no way to tell which injury represented the fatal blow. There was also a sexual component to the crime as well, which was so disturbing that most news outlets refrained from reporting on it. Eventually, the two boys placed James's dead body across the train tracks in hopes of making the whole thing look like an accident. They then abandoned the scene before a train came and severed the toddler in two. With little to go on, Bulger's parents were initially the prime suspects, but when police saw the CCTV footage from the shopping mall, the story went nationwide and the search for Bulger intensified. His body was discovered 2 days after his disappearance. All of the instruments used in the attack were found strewn around the area, including the stolen tin of blue paint which was reported on the news. An anonymous phone call to the police then implicated John Venables and Robert Thompson as the killers. The caller told police that Venables and Thompson were both absent from school on the Friday of the abduction, and that they had seen blue paint on the...
Yeah, I would put these kids in a cannon, probably, and just, like, shoot them out into the sun. There's no saving these kids, dude. No shot. Send them out to space with Elon Musk. Let Elon Musk deal with them. Like, how the fuck do you become this, dude? At the age of 10, how do you become that? At the age of 10, how do you become that? I get, like, a lifetime of abuse and whatnot leads you to this kind of behavior at the age of, like, 26. You know, add on some additional problems. 10, dude? Bad early socialization. Dude, that is... You saying that, especially what we know after the fact, makes it seem like a reasonable take. It's just like... It's so crazy. Fortnite does that? Yeah, back in 1993.
Sleeve of John Venables' jacket. The police then visited both children's homes and discovered blood on Thompson's shoes and blue paint on Venables' jacket. Both boys were then taken in for questioning.
He said that the two of you were in the Strand and that you saw the little boy.
We never.
Is that the God's honest truth?
God's honest truth, I'm telling you that we never. He was too scared. He was probably too scared.
And he said that you took him by the hand and led him out of the Strand shops.
Okay, the kid's name is Venables, dude. I'm starting to see a pattern here. Like with a name like that, it's just like you literally have like a villain name, you know what I mean? It's just it does. It has demonic energy. It literally has demonic energy. What was the other name that we looked at before? By the way, remember how much... What was the other name? I remember from a while ago. No, it wasn't Draco. What the fuck was it? Lazarus. Yeah, Lazarus, dude. Literally. You name your child Lazarus, dude, that kid's gonna fucking do shit. I mean, come on, bro. Lazarus, dude? Really? Just name your child Methuselah. Oh, it's the family name? Okay, well, regardless. Same shit. My little bro's friend is called Lazarus. Yo, watch out. Be on the lookout. Damien's kind of, So, fuck, I forgot what I was going to say. Let's keep going.
We never. He's a liar.
Calm down.
Okay, I literally sound exactly like this kid when I do Aiden voice. I'm sorry. I know we're not supposed to be lighthearted. This is a devastating case. But, like, you guys keep saying my accent is terrible, but it actually is my Aiden voice, like this kid's voice. Said yikes. Okay, I'm sorry. I know. We're not making... like, it's the unacceptable time to do... The unacceptable time to be doing bravophobia. But it was just too close not to point out.
Alright, come on, look. It's alright.
Dude, this fucking... By the way, I literally don't feel any empathy for this kid. I feel like he's just lying to fucking cops with not a single fear in his eyes or mind, or he's just like literally crying, lying. It's just like...
I never got the boy.
Piece of shit.
I never killed him. Yeah, we was, but we never saw any kids there.
I love you
We never got any kids.
So you were in Bootle New Strand?
Yeah, was you in Bootle Strand? Yeah, but we never got a kid, Mum. We never got
Mrs. Venables, would you... I must ask you not to get angry with it. A short while ago, as is detailed on your custody record out there, you had a conversation with your mum, and you then requested that myself and Dave Tanner come into the room. Is that right? Yeah. And what was it you told us?
That I killed James. He took him on the railway track and started throwing bricks at him.
Why did he throw bricks at him?
No.
Did it make him fall over?
No.
So you're saying he threw another...
What do you do in this situation of your parent? Late-term abortion, I think, probably. Like, what are you supposed to do? Act like that is not your child? Literal fucking hellspawn, dude. Bro, I'm telling you, this is like out of a movie, dude. This is like Omen. You know what I mean? What do? You bring a life onto this planet and it's literally the devil. Like, what are you gonna do? People from this area are famous for stealing? Okay, dude. I guess they were excited that their son was a murderer then. Venables was caught with kiddie porn after being freed? Okay, dude. Shut the fuck up. Are you serious? At just 10 years old, John Venables callously abducted and murdered James Bulger at 2 years old. Wait. They were released at the age of 18? They let him out. His current new identity came under threat in February 2018 after James Bulger's dad, Ralph, launched high court proceedings against the order that allows him to live anonymously. James's mom does not support the proceedings and said her son's killer should keep his anonymity to avoid vigilante justice. But the president, he was given a second identity following his release from prison in 2013, but he found himself back in maximum category A jail, which he cannot identify for legal reasons, after being caught with vile child abuse images following a top secret police investigation. Are you fucking kidding me? Wait, is this in the video? Why are you guys yelling? Well, someone sent it to me. What do you want? Someone sent me the fucking link. I didn't think it was going to be in the video.
And he didn't fall over?
Yeah, he did fall over. And he just kept on getting back up again. He wouldn't stay down.
What was he saying while he was doing all this?
He was saying stay down, you stupid dick and all that.
Why did he want him to stay down?
I don't know. Wanted him dead probably. So we walked up to him and we were walking around with him and I took his hand.
Well, whose idea was it to walk towards him?
Mine.
Was it?
Then it was Robert's idea to kill him. And we went outside to the canal.
What for?
Don't know, we said let's throw him in the water. He was persuading him, he said kneel down and let's look at the water and all that, but he wouldn't. Because when we wouldn't get him down, Robert picked him up and threw him on the floor and that's where he got his bump on his head.
Where'd you go with him after that?
The reservoir where that woman spotted us.
Is young James walking with you by this time, or are you still having to pull him?
Young
He
James.
was walking with us.
Was he upset, or had he made friends with you?
He was all nice.
I know the truth. I believe I know the truth.
I was there.
That's right.
You waved.
Correct, but I know there's a lot of things that have gone on.
Yeah, well, do you know it was me that killed him? It wasn't. I never even killed him.
Bro, are you fucking kidding me? This kid, dude, he's also a debate lord on top of everything else. He's like a torturer, a psycho, and a fucking debate lord. He's like literally debating an adult cop. What the fuck is going on here, dude? Why are their brains so well developed? Like, you're a child, dog. You're 10 years old. Here's a fucking full-blown adult being like, oh, you did it. He's like, well, you weren't there, were you? Well, you fucking weren't there, were you? I never killed them.
Hey, Hassan, I just joined in any things I should know about.
I'll be over in a few minutes if you just tell him the truth. James threw a brick in his face.
I did not do it.
Right, try and stop. Right, we're getting there, aren't we? We're getting to the truth now.
Yeah, well, I'm going to end up getting out of the plane because I've got blood on me. He grabbed the baby's hand and just walked around the strand. And then you let him go loose then.
Did he?
When we were by the church, you let him go.
And you were with John then? You shook your head. You shook your head.
Yeah, I told him to take him back.
You did what?
I told him to take him back.
You told him to take it back?
All right, Poppy.
No, you're not.
Bro, 10-year-old kids engaging in premeditated murder and then, like, even a subsequent cover-up is just, like, impossible to fit in my brain. Like, they're 10 years old. Just do fucking Fortnite dances, dude. That's what 10-year-olds are doing. I mean, 10-year-olds literally watch Minecraft compilations. Like, they don't... Like, they are... They're, like, behaving in this most vile way, like full-blown adults. You know what I mean? Even the way they're talking. Even the way both of these kids have, like, tried to originally lie to the police, like...
Not getting all the blame. We're just asking your son. We're trying to find the truth.
We always get the blame.
Wait a minute, Bobby. Listen. Just calm yourself down for a minute, okay? You alright?
He said he wants us more.
So what did you say to him?
What did you say?
You.
We're going to try and find us, Mum.
Where did you leave him then?
On a reservoir place.
I don't believe you would have left him there. You took him away from where the reservoir is and walked down somewhere else.
Where?
Going towards the police station.
Like, even this lie is so strange. Like, it's almost like they're saying, oh no, I only assaulted him. I didn't actually murder him. You know what I mean? Like, how does he have the wherewithal to know just to say that he assaulted the kid and then the kid just fucking died? Like, if you're 10 fucking years old, like, you know what I mean? It's crazy, dude. They're 10 years old. How does he know to like lie about like a smaller charge, basically? You were a dumb kid, Hasan, lol. I'm sorry, dude. Are you really saying in the chat that you would be smart enough as a 10-year-old to like cover up your tracks? Is that what you're... Okay, there's something going on with these rocks.
No ads.
I have those like mineral things, those rocks. And I place them on top of one another and they keep falling at like really random times, the mineral rocks that you guys have sent me.
I never killed him.
The trials of John Venables and Robert Thompson commenced 9 months later, and they were both convicted of murder.
Okay, they're both fucked up, dude, especially this one. Just from the face. Okay? If I see that kid, like, you know what I mean? You go to a barbecue and you're like, your uncle's friend has a kid like that. You're like, nah, there's something wrong with that kid. Get the kid out of here. No, I don't care. He's 10 years old, dude. Nope, fuck that. That is a scary looking kid, dude. Fucked vibes. Absolutely disastrously fucked vibes, dude. This kid wouldn't allow him near a school, okay?
Making them the youngest to be found guilty of the offense in over 250 years.
2 days later, on Monday the 22nd of February, the boys were taken to South Sefton Magistrates Court in Bootle for a hearing. Media interest in the case was enormous. Television crews and photographers from all over the world came to Bootle to get a shot at the boys. Public anger too had been building for some time in Liverpool, both against the boys and the intrusiveness of the media. A menacing crowd gathered outside the court, waiting for the boys to come out.
Yeah, I take back everything I said about Minecraft stands, dude. I would much rather have like little 10-year-old Zoomer babies running around being like, oh my god, that's fucking, you're triggering me, or, you know, trigger warning, Hasan neg. Like, Hasan earlier today talked about DID, and that's really fucked up. You know, I'm so much better than whatever the fuck is going on here. You know, I would rather have them occupied with, like, disassociating into being Dream or something. Let them go?
As the boys left in the transit van, bricks were being thrown, people were running up to the side of the truck.
Oh, they wanted to let him go so they could kill him, dude. That's crazy. Oh, they wanted to, like, let the little... You're gonna fucking... What are you gonna do? You're gonna murder a 10-year-old, dude? Like, I'm talking a big game here, but, like, let's be real. I think it's good that they were, you know, put through the criminal justice system in a more empathetic capacity. There's no capital punishment. Like, ultimately, that is what the right thing to do is. And I'm glad that the government was doing the right thing in that situation, and I'm not running anything. It's like, I personally would have been like, yeah, no, throw him to the fucking crowd.
4 months with the Has Chuds. Love you all.
I think you can easily rehab 10-year-olds compared to fully adult killer. No. No, no shot. No. Dude, that kid, like, maybe one of them. In a situation where you have two 10-year-olds, both of them being, like, bloodthirsty psychopaths is unlikely. So one of them was less bloodthirsty of a psychopath than the other. Maybe that one can be rehabilitated, but both of them, fuck no. One of them is the mastermind, and that one is, like, there is no way to medically fix something like that, okay? Sorry, it's just the fucking truth. What do I always talk about when I talk about, like, prison abolition and all this other shit? There are edge cases that you cannot fix. We happen to keep looking at the edge cases, which does not reflect the entirety of the criminal justice system. Murderers can be rehabilitated, but there are certain kinds of murders that are impossible to rehabilitate, okay? Antisocial personality disorders are unfortunately very hard to diagnose and very hard to figure out if they actually truly rehabilitated. Radlib Hassan? What? They're literally 10? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. One of those fucking 10-year-olds is a psycho. Like, straight up. This is why I meant it wasn't funny to joke about. This really shook people and it's still taught to people. Yeah, one of them is a fucking psycho that will never be rehabilitated. And saying that currently medical science that we have readily accessible cannot rehabilitate antisocial personality disorders is not a Radlib take. It's just the truth. You want me to lie and tell you that it's not the truth? It's true. We currently do not know how to, one, appropriately diagnose psychopathy, and we also do not know how to appropriately rehabilitate psychopathy. Pedophilia as well. But
hassle.
I'm not saying murder those kids, but you're going to probably have to keep them under constant round-the-clock supervision. Source? I don't know, man. Psychopaths test. There's like a bunch of different things that you can read about how difficult it is to criminally charge psychopaths. Like I don't know what source to start off with. I've read a lot about. I'm fascinated with sociopaths and psychopaths. So it's understandable that you're asking for a source, but I don't know what to like start off with. What the starting point would be, but probably like. Ron Johnson's psychopath test is pretty good. What you are stating is just incorrect. Really? So it's actually easy to medically diagnose psychopaths and sociopaths. Specifically psychopaths. Well, it's the official Karl Marx, so he must be right. No shot. What you are stating is just incorrect. Go ahead, please explain to me how I'm incorrect. I would love to hear what official Karl Marx has to say. Oh no, I'm too high for this.
MK Ultra 3579 exclamation mark MK Ultra 3579 at MK Ultra 3579.me.twitch.tv prims.
What you are stating is just incorrect. Oh no, I'm too high for this. I hate this. Yeah, you must be high if you think that it's like easy to diagnose people who have antisocial personality disorders, like who are criminally or criminally in a criminal case diagnosing someone. There's actually a doctor that was studying sociopaths and realized he was one by looking at his own brain scan. Their brains are literally different. Such a bitch-made move, by the way, 17-month subscriber, to just be like, you're literally wrong, and then be like, oh, I'm too high. You are correct, but I don't like hearing that we should throw 10-year-olds in prison. Okay. This does not reflect the 99.9% of juvenile offenders, okay? 99.9999999% of juvenile offenders, I can't even talk, have absolutely nothing to do with this case. I hear what you're saying, but you're not a doctor and you're not a psychiatrist. Okay, it doesn't matter. I know I'm not a doctor nor a psychiatrist, but what I'm saying about diagnosing psychopaths is still, unfortunately, very difficult. Treatment of psychopaths is also, unfortunately, very difficult. It's true. I'm right. I don't know what to tell you, dude. Like, here, this is from the Journal of Royal Society of Medicine from 2004, but back then it says, even then it says, no one doing research on personality disorder is satisfied with the current diagnostic systems. Like, first fucking line is about how 2004 Keck W. Are you fucking stupid? Dude, then you send me a foolproof system of diagnosis for psychopathy right now. It's literally one, currently untreatable. That doesn't mean it will always be untreatable, but it literally is untreatable. And also, it's very easy, unfortunately, for people with antisocial personality disorders to be able to fucking evade, like, the diagnostic systems. Especially if you're an older, psychopath who has already gone on for, who's already, like, lived for an extended period of time. You know how to show empathy. You know how to manipulate the diagnostics. Okay, this is from 2013. It says, Reducing Psychopathic Violence, a review of the treatment literature. Psychopathy reflects a pathological form of personality that predisposes individuals to a risk of perpetration of chronic... By the way, this doesn't mean that all psychopaths are violent. I'm not saying that at all, for the record. They are overrepresented in corporate boards, government, and also in prison, but... Psychopaths and sociopaths are constructs of antisocial personality disorder. The difference lies in where the behaviors originate. Sociopathy comes from interactions in the social environment. Epigenetic. Psychopathy is genetic. So what's up, dude? Radlid defends child murder emotional. I'm not saying they should murder him. I literally said it's good that they are... I literally said it's good that they... It's good that they didn't fucking, throw him into the crowd. There's currently no consensus on trying to diagnose psychopathy. A lot of the guidelines are currently centered around its criminality rather than its medical prognosis. You're fucking... Oh, dude. Fuck you, dude. I saw. Okay. Yeah, it's top of the fucking hour, dude. Okay? Yeah. It's top of the hour. For the past 3.5 decades, the psychopathy checklist revised and the self-report psychopathic personality inventory revised have been the standard measures of diagnosis. Technological approaches can enhance these diagnostic methodologies. The purpose of the paper is to present a state-of-the-art review of various technological approaches. Both of these checklists are routinely. This is the closest to correct you have read. What? Hasan, sometimes your takes aren't always right, except that dumbass. Bro, every single fucking paper that we just read proves I'm correct. I don't know why you're saying this. This is incredibly recent, what you're sending me. Like, chat is making it seem like this has been the fucking law of the land. Wait, it's from 2017. Images of prisoners' brain shows important differences, and even then, we still don't know. Diagnosing this stuff in a consenting patient is a lot different than in a potentially non-cooperative one. I know. Like, especially as especially as someone who is literally, especially as someone who's literally read up on this a lot. That's why I'm like very frustrated by chat being like, you're fucking literally wrong. There are a profound amount of problems currently with the most common way of doing diagnoses on who has antisocial personality disorder or not. Okay? I don't know why if fucking people are not like, I don't know why people are just not listening to what I have to say. I don't know what happened in your brains that you unironically think that like, okay, what I was saying is it's not easy to diagnose, but with the right medication regimen and bi-weekly check-ins, they're able to live semi-independently. Wow. That was the reason why you said I was wrong? I should ban you right now. You have to be high for thinking that like you started one of the worst fucking stun locks where I'm literally 100% correct. And every motherfucker in the chat started agreeing with you just to be what you're stating is just incorrect. You were wrong because you said it's impossible to diagnose. It is not, dude. It's not easy to diagnose. Does not mean that it's a fucking 80% diagnoses rate, especially when it comes to criminal psychopaths. Okay? I mean, also, I personally mentioned monitoring, and that's the only thing we can do. And you can't correctly medicate psychopaths either. A doctor could potentially diagnose a psychopath if a psychopath or if someone with an antisocial personality disorder willingly goes to a doctor to fucking figure this shit out. But if you are already a murderer, you're not going to cooperate with a fucking doctor. That's the other problem. Yeah, this is true. You can't even diagnose a child with an antisocial personality disorder because they haven't. That's something that happens when your brain is like fully fucking developed. That's the other issue. Anyway. I guess what we learned is if you're too fucking high, don't immediately come like with a, dude, you're wrong. Anyway, I'm gonna fucking hit the ad break now. I forgot to run it because I got so stun locked, but last bullet point on the study from 2020 says exactly what you've been saying. For many years, psychopathy was considered impossible to treat. However, new studies are showing that although psychopaths are difficult to treat, as they are often unpleasant, disruptive, non-compliant, they still show improvement if they receive adequate doses of treatment. Cognitive behavioral programs to treat psychopathy are currently being developed and evaluated. So they currently do not have a foolproof or even a method for successfully treating psychopathy. Got it. That's what you got from that? Yeah, it is what I got from that. Dude, this is one of the like most heavily fucking debated issues in criminal justice. And you motherfuckers literally just arrived at it yesterday. And you're over here talking like you know what the fuck you're talking about. It's so frustrating, dude. Like, I know we've been watching a lot of fucking murder investigations and shit like that, but that doesn't really make you an expert or someone who's, like, read anything on this. It's really annoying, especially considering, like, yeah, I don't really read a lot, but, like, this is one area where I have read a lot. And you are? Yes, I am! This is one of the few fucking instances where I, like, actually have done a lot of reading on. Like, a lot. Beyond the normal amount of reading. Fuck me, dude. Reading Gruesome Murders, expert in cases of extreme neurodivergence. Wait, no. Not from Reading Gruesome Murders, dumbass. I'm giving you specific shit. It has nothing to do with gruesome murders.
Transit van.
Why are chatters
hammering
doing
on the
this?
side with their fists. The boys I know didn't like that one bit.
Okay, lads, come on. There's been a backlash against horror videos as Britain searches for answers in the wake of the James Bulger murder and the life sentences on his schoolboy killers. The case has already split the church and the government in a damaging row over who's to blame. But there's alarm now with a death threat from an uncle of little James.
New Flowers today marked painful memories of the Bulger trial as politicians and churchmen blamed one another in their search for reasons for the murder. Feelings everywhere were running high today, nowhere more than in a phone-in on BBC Television's Good Morning with Anne and Nick programme, when James Bulger's uncle, who was the one called to identify the child's body, threatened to kill the two boys.
Looks to me like everyone's making excuses for them, and there is no excuses on. They took the child, they battered them to death, and if they don't stay in jail forever, if they ever get old, we'll be waiting, and when we get hold of them, we'll kill them.
Why did they do it?
Jesus Christ, I mean...
What was in their minds to do it? Obviously, we couldn't answer that question at that time.
In the Commons, some MPs, struggling to find any kind of action to express their revulsion, turned on horror videos that might have influenced the boys. The children had watched cartoons in this video shop straight after the killing. A month before, John Venable's father had rented Child's Play 3, a mainstream 18-rated black comedy showing a demonic doll being battered to death. The Bulger trial judge surprised the police investigating the case when he suggested violent videos may have played a part in the case. The police said they had no evidence to suggest it. However, responding to criticism, Sky Television said it's dropping tomorrow night's planned screening of Child's Play 3, while another video chain said they were burning 10,000 copies.
The youngest murderers this century were driven at speed to an indefinite future in custody, detained at Her Majesty's pleasure.
The sentence that has been passed is the only sentence that the court could pass. They recognise that, but no sentence the court could pass would ever bring James back, and nor, in their view, could it ever properly punish those two boys for what they did.
They were both given an indefinite sentence, which has no maximum, but has a minimum determined on a case-by-case basis. In this case, it was just 8 years, and despite public outrage, they would end up serving this minimum sentence, and were each released in 2001, when they were both 18 years old.
Lord Wolfe has decided the tariff should expire today. He says the boys, both 18, are genuinely remorseful, and further detention wouldn't be constructive.
No shot.
It was a terrible offence, but they were only children. They were only just criminally responsible when it occurred, and it has to take into account the undoubted progress which they've made.
James Bulger's mother, Denise Fergus, said she was shocked and disgusted by the decision. It means her son's killers could be out in a matter of months.
I'll never forgive them for what they've done, never. I'll take the hate for them to my grave. It's always for their side, you know, they were only 10 and it's just excuse after excuse for them all the time. They're not considering James.
That's fucking psychopathic too. It's just like, oh, Jesus Christ.
James isn't here anymore, but them two are.
They were given new identities and granted legal anonymity for life due to the public fury that surrounded the case, and the danger of citizens hunting them down in order to take vengeance. In 2010, John Venables was taken back to prison for downloading child pornography of male toddlers. He served 3 years in prison and was released in 2013, only to be brought back again 4 years later, after a pedophile manual that provided instructions on having sex with kids was discovered on his computer. He was sentenced to 3.5 years in prison.
They just don't want him in there.
There you fucking go, dude. There you go. We read some of it already, but like, that dude is not treatable, man. He's just not. He's literally not. He's not. There's nothing. You can't do anything. I'm not saying you should murder him or anything like that. The state should not. But like, that person cannot help themselves. And currently, unfortunately, and this is something I always mention as well, there is no way to treat that person. There is no successful way to treat that person with our current medical science. There might be in the future, but right now there isn't.
Their care. So what they're doing is throwing them back into the public, and I think it's wrong. You know, I'm more fearing now that someone is going to mistaken someone else's Venables and do someone who's innocent harm. That's my biggest fear now.
Do you trust that the authorities can monitor him properly?
No, definitely not. They couldn't monitor him the first time. What makes them so sure they're going to monitor him now? They haven't got a clue. I think they're not doing the jobs properly. They've got jobs there to do and they're not doing them. You know, they let him slip through the...
Psychopathy is treatable. Look at the doctor who found out he's a psychopath. Did he go home and murder his wife after a brain scan? No. Are you fucking stupid? Do you think that, like, being a psychopath automatically means you're going to start being a violent psychopath? When did I ever say that? That's not even a good bait, dude. Shut the fuck up.
The fingers the first time round, so no doubt it's going to happen again. He got away with so much. He's going to think he's untouchable again, and he's going to go and do even worse. I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him.
John Venables, now these orders, these anonymity orders are very rare. There was only about 4, I think. There's Mary Bell, the child killer from the 60s. She got one to protect her own daughter. And I kind of think, again, fair enough. But John Venables, how many times does somebody have to keep committing a crime? Because what's happening is that his anonymity is protecting him from the crimes that he... So every time he does a crime, we don't know who he is. And then he comes back into society. Yeah. Does he meet people who don't know what his background is? You know, and I think he's now committing these crimes as an adult. He's making his choice to commit these crimes as an adult, therefore he has no further right to anonymity. It's quite interesting.
It would come as no surprise that the most prevalent question surrounding the case was just how in the world this could even happen. How could 2 children at such a young age hurt another in such a cruel and horrific manner? The trial had not sought out what could have been the motivation, and this therefore remained a source of much speculation long after.
This home video was taken at a school party 6 months before the killing. Robert Thompson is the little boy circled.
Dude, stop advocating for chemical castration. Are you fucking insane? That is a horrifying, torturous, inhumane punishment, dude. Speaking of chemical castration, they used to do that in England, as a matter of fact. So, you know. Even to heroes.
What shocks is his size and childishness. His family life was unhappy. A social work report after the killing revealed that his father was a violent drunk who had disappeared.
I'm talking about Alan Turing, chat. Yeah. He took his own life, right, afterwards because of the chemical castration.
Appeared. His mother had subsequently attempted suicide. She too drank heavily. He was the fifth of 7 brothers who grew up afraid of each other. It was alleged that they assaulted and tied each other up. John Venables came from a more secure home, but something was wrong and his education was failing. A teacher from his previous school wrote a report in which she described his disturbed behavior. How, among other things, he attacked other children, hung himself upside down from coat pegs, lay under chairs, and stuck paper all over his face.
Public sentiment refuted the claims that both Thompson's abusive background and Venables' exposure to violent videos may have been a predominant cause, claiming that many children come from adverse backgrounds, and many more watch the same age-restricted material before they come of age. Yet the overwhelming majority of these children never come close to committing these types of offenses. A popular psychological viewpoint emerged just over a decade later, being that this was a case where 2 children with rare, yet similar psychological makeup happened to cross paths, and it was their own influence on each other that became the motivation to commit the crime. The preceding argument that most children who emerge from adversity in fact become decent people was agreed with, yet this was explained through the notion that most of these children come across mediating factors in their journey, and this provides them with an alternative and more virtuous direction. This can be a teacher at school, a friend that comes from a good home, or some type of program that provides a sense of belonging and structure. The argument is that rather than finding these external sources of correction, Venables and Thompson found each other. 2 individuals who, for their own unique reasons, were so alienated from the primary values of modern society that an idea in...
They castrated Alan Turing for being gay, okay? They didn't castrate him for being a pedophile or anything. They castrated him for being gay. He chose castration over going to jail. He's gonna go to jail after fucking literally, like, breaking hella Nazi codes. That's what the UK did to him, okay? He had the option of, he was a hero, inventor of like the modern computer, visionary mathematician. He's known as the father of computer science and artificial intelligence. He's a cryptologist, a mathematician, and they fucking chemically castrated him. Now they put him on a banknote, a 50 pounds banknote, I guess, but he ended his life at the age of 41 by eating an apple laced with cyanide, because he had the option, either he was going to get chemically castrated or go to jail, and he chose chemical castration. It is incredibly inhumane. It's incredibly fucked up. You cannot do that to people. Okay? Alan Turing. Also, there was a really good movie about his life, too. You can do it with the child molesters law? No, you can't. You can't do it to anyone. You shouldn't be able to do it to anyone. You should not be... The Imitation Game, is that what the movie was? Yeah, it's very good. Very good movie. You can't do that to anyone. The government should not engage in capital punishment, and the government should not chemically castrate people. Chemical castration with pedophiles is different from homosexuals / normal people? No, it doesn't matter, dude. No, dude. Okay, like, let's start torturing people too then. Why do you think torture is acceptable then? If someone has murdered someone, can you torture them? You can't. A lot of you are looking for vengeance, not justice. Justice is not about vengeance. Okay? I think we joke too much about me, like, throwing people into volcanoes and shit. That, like, chat needs to remember what my point of view is, like, what my actual point of view is on criminal justice. What if it's a violent child molester in question? What if castration gave the person a normal ability to live a normal life? That's a psychotic take. That's not a real thing. You should watch the pedophile doc about the pedophile doc by Louis Theroux. It's about how you can't release some people even after they serve their term in prison and the life they live in a specialized housing area. I can't even fucking talk. All right, I'm gonna finish.
Involving the torture and murder of a 2-year-old child was encouraged rather than admonished.